Yes, hi, a bit chilly outside. Would you mind hanging on to this for me, please, sir? Thanks very much. Yes, the transfer show from Battersea. And we've got the band back together. Dharmesh and Kaveh are here to take you through all the best transfer stories of the day. And there are absolutely loads of them. What's going on with Marcus Rashford? Well, that is the question. Time is running out for him to get out of Old Trafford. And will Ange Postecoglou make it through the window at Spurs and get the reinforcements he needs? Yeah, let's get straight to it. Nice to see you both. How you doing? Not bad, this, is it?
Yeah, very nice.
It's all right. Let's talk Marcus Rashford. Time is running out for him to get out of Manchester United. Is it going to happen, Kaveh?
I think it will. I think Ruben Amorim...
In this week?
Yeah, I think it will. Well, before the deadline, I think he'll move. Ruben Amorim could not have been clearer. What he said last night after the game at Fulham here in London, he basically said, I'd rather have my goalkeeping coach, who's 63, on the bench than a player who's not giving his all in training. So it looks like Marcus Rashford is going to have to leave if he wants to get regular football. The question is, where's he going to go? Now, I think his number one choice is Barcelona. But there are big problems with that because Spanish football has very, very strict financial fair play rules. So it's going to be difficult for Barcelona to be able to accommodate his wages. And also, I'm not sure how regularly he'd play if he was to move to Barcelona, because Barcelona front three, they've got Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, Rafinha. So would it make sense for him to move to Barcelona? I think where we are at with Marcus Rashford is his advisors are trying to find a club for him, but the big issue is his big wages. He's reported to earn more than £300,000 a week. If he's to move, obviously Manchester United would want his new club to pay nearly all of those wages. And the clubs who are interested in getting him know that the longer they wait until the deadline, the more likely it is that they're going to get a better deal. So I think this is going to go on until deadline day.
No, he's not getting out of there, is he? Come on, let's be honest.
Look,
where's he going to go?
If you look at what's happened with Marcus Rashford, on December the 17th, he does an interview with Henry Winter, who I think we're going to hear from again at 7 o'clock. 7. And if you're doing an interview and saying you need a new challenge and the next steps in your career, the feeling would be that you've got something lined up. We're on day 27 of the transfer window now. He's still a Manchester United player. And not only is he a Manchester United player, he's not actually playing for them. The question you have to ask is whether Marcus Rashford and his camp maybe overestimated the market that was in for him when he made those quotes in that interview by saying, it's time for a new challenge for me. AC Milan were interested. They came and went. They've now signed Kyle Walker, and they can't actually sign Marcus Rashford now because of their non-EU player rule. So Walker's there, Rashford can't join. Borussia Dortmund's interest is there and has been there throughout the window, but the finances simply do not work for him. Kaveh's mentioned it already. He wants to go to Barcelona, but there's so many associated issues with their finances that are precluding a deal from happening for Rashford to go to Barcelona. So here we are, Rashford, 27 days into this window, still a Manchester United player and not playing for Manchester United.
I'm going to ask my question again, though. You said he's going to get out of Manchester United before deadline day. Where's he going to go? Salford?
Well, I think maybe an English club will come in for him. You would assume that Manchester United don't want him to go to another Premier League club. But as we get closer to the deadline, would it mean that Manchester United would be willing to let him move to another Premier League club? Which Premier League clubs would be interested in taking him? Look, I've got to tell you, I'm a big fan of Ruben Amorim. I like the fact that he's open and honest, his news conferences. But I'm sitting here thinking, did he say too much last night? Because we've already seen him a couple of days ago in a press conference. He said that this was the worst Manchester United side of all time. I think he regretted saying that. Last night, he comes out with a great headline saying he'd rather have his 63-year-old goalkeeping coach on the bench than someone who's not given his all in training. Does he regret saying that? Because from a business point of view, It's not ideal for Manchester United to have their manager saying that when you are trying to move a player out.
One thing that has to happen with regard to Rashford right now is clear he's not in Amorim's plans just now because he's not training properly, according to Ruben Amorim. But if come February the 3rd at 11 p.m. he's still a Manchester United player, there's going to have to be some sort of reintegration into that squad. Because if they are going long-term to decide Rashford's got to get sold, if he's not going to get a move away from Manchester United and he doesn't play for United, how much is he going to be on the market come
How do you reintegrate a player that you said you'd rather put your 63-year-old goalkeeping coach on before him?
No.
How do you reintegrate
Because
him?
Ruben Amorim has also said, I know that's the headline that's come out of it, he goes, I would rather put my goalkeeping coach in ahead of somebody or any player that's not training properly. That's the message to any player, not just Rashford.
Yeah, but he's talking about Rashford.
Yeah, but you've got to train properly. So if Marcus Rashford then trains properly, still at United, he is going to get that opportunity if you take what Ruben Amorim is saying on face value.
Does he get reintegrated?
I think possibly, but we've seen, for instance, Jadon Sancho had these issues, similar issues with Erik ten Hag. He was frozen out. I think there is a way back for him at Manchester United, but we said on this channel when Ruben Amorim got the Manchester United job, we were speaking to all our contacts in Portugal. They said, look, he comes across as being a lovely guy. He's got a heart of gold. He wears his heart on his sleeve. But make no mistake, if you step out of line, if you don't do what he says, you have no future under him. And it appears that that is what has happened with Marcus Rashford because he's been totally frozen out. One other thing that I would say is we're just talking based on what Ruben Amorim has said. Marcus Rashford has only given one interview to Henry Winter. Henry got some incredible quotes out of him, but have we had both sides of the story? So maybe let's not rush to judgment until we've heard Marcus's version of events, because I'm sure he would say, I'm training properly, there's nothing wrong with the way I'm training, I'm giving 100% every day.
Can you hold it to 7?
Wait,
can you hold it to, we've got
very quickly, Carve did say about Sancho. One thing I would say about the comparison between Rashford and Sancho is that there was a massive falling out between Erik ten Hag and Jadon Sancho. There's actually not a falling out, as far as we know, as whatever Ruben Amorim has said, between Ruben Amorim and Marcus Rashford.
All right. I want to talk Garnacho. Developments today?
Yeah, look, as far as we're aware, we think that the future of Alejandro Garnacho is now key to what Manchester United can do with regard to incomings and outgoings in this transfer window. Ruben Amorim, in that news conference, as well as talking about Rashford, he did talk about Alejandro Garnacho, and he said he will not rule out a sale of Garnacho. He says anything can happen. That's despite Garnacho starting 4 of Manchester United's last 5 games in all competitions. Let's be clear about this. Manchester United don't actually want to sell Alejandro Garnacho, but they accept that a sale of Garnacho would help them with regard to their finances and those 3 letters that we don't like talking about, PSR. It would also help, if he was to go, to help them bring players in to the football club and start to mould what Ruben Amorim wants to do with the squad, with this formation. Napoli and Chelsea, we know, remain interested in Garnacho. Napoli's initial bid falls short of what United would want, and I think that they would want to try and do a compromise on what United want and what they're prepared to pay. Chelsea is the interesting one because they haven't come in with a bid yet, but they are interested in him.
I think as far as Chelsea are concerned, it's a watching brief. If there's a deal to be done for Garnacho, they are ready to do that deal. They haven't made an offer yet. I think the way Chelsea are looking at this is, look, he's a very, very good young player, 20 years old. He's definitely a player we would like to have in our squad. It's not often that a player as good as him becomes available. It tells you a lot about the state Manchester United are in financially, that they feel the need to possibly let him go. So I think if there's a deal to be done there, Chelsea are ready to move. Having said that, I know a lot of Chelsea supporters, and they watch the performance against Manchester City, and a lot of them are saying, do we need another wide player? What we need is a number 9. We need a striker, and we need a goalkeeper. those are the areas that we should be looking at reinforcing in the next few days. Garnacho is a great player, but he's a sort of icing on the cake kind of player. So what we need is a striker and a goalkeeper.
Okay, so where's Nkunku in amongst all of this?
Again, Nkunku is somebody who's got this great offer for him from Bayern Munich. He would like to move to Bayern Munich, but to be fair to him, he's being professional at Chelsea. Chelsea are willing to do business, but they would want to bring another player in to replace him. They're looking at Matisse Tell at Bayern Munich. So far, he has said that he wants to stay at Bayern Munich. He doesn't want to move from there. But past 2 or 3 games, he hasn't featured at all for Bayern. So Bayern sending the message out to him that, look, your days here are numbered. We need you to move because we want to bring Christopher Nkunku in.
Okay, right. That's a couple of players who could be offloaded by United. What about people coming in?
So, as I was mentioning before, Garnacho, a potential sale of someone like Garnacho would enable United to maybe negotiate a bit further and in a better way for the Lecce left wing back, Patrick Dorgu. We do know that gap in valuation still exists between what United are prepared to pay and what Lecce would want. The Lecce president is saying all the right things with regard to Dorgu. We don't want to sell him. But United would obviously see that as a negotiating tactic, and I think United are actually looking at it as almost brinkmanship. Who's going to blink first with regard to that price tag? Because United do not want to overpay. They have got their own valuation for Dorgu, and they don't want to go over that. Dorgu is actually playing for Lecce at the moment. He's played all 90 minutes in their 4-0 defeat against Inter yesterday. Rather like what Garnacho has been doing for United, he's still featuring for the first team. So is that a message from both clubs? Well, put your money up or shut up, basically. That's what the message is, really. But another option, an interesting one for United, if the Dorgu one proves to be too high a price for them to pay, they could go back to someone who was a Manchester United player up until last year. That's Alvaro Fernandez Carreras. Now, you remember, he went on loan to Benfica. Part of that loan was an option to buy.
That's 17 million or something.
Benfica took up that option for 6 million.
Okay.
But United, in that deal, inserted an 18 million euro buyback clause. Yeah. So if the Dorgu one doesn't work out, they can look at that and think that is something else that we could consider. Now, if Manchester United can bring in a left wing back, be it Dorgu, be it Fernandez Carreras, then I think they would go full speed ahead, let's say, for Tyrell Malacia maybe going out on loan for the rest of the season, for him to get first-team football and then reassess his future in the summer. He's still got 18 months left on his contract, and United hold an option for a further year.
OK, Neymar. What's going on with Neymar?
Well, Neymar is going back to where it all started. His club, Al Hilal, are in talks with him to terminate his contract. And that would mean that he would return to Santos in Brazil. Now, it is going to be complicated because he's on massive money in Saudi Arabia, and I think he wants to be paid up the rest of his contract. His deal runs out in the summer before he leaves, but his representatives are negotiating with Al Hilal. There's also talk in Brazil of Santos maybe offering him some sort of share options in the club or an investment firm that owns the club. And that just shows you where we are in the transfer market. Some of these big name players, people can't necessarily afford their wages, and they're looking at doing deals where they give them a share of broadcast revenue, as we've seen with Lionel Messi in the US, or there's talk of if Cristiano Ronaldo is going to sign a new contract at Al Nassr, he may get some shares in the club as well. So that could be happening with Santos and Neymar. What's interesting, of course, with Neymar is 8 years ago, I think I was in holiday in Spain,
like you.
reporting on Neymar moving from Barcelona to PSG in a world record £200 million deal. And 8 years later, I'm sitting here in a Sky retail store in Battersea talking about him moving on a free transfer. So it just goes to show that, anything can happen in the world of football.
Well, Carvo was talking us through his life there. I just heard you've got a line on Buendia.
Yeah, this has come from our colleagues at Sky in Germany. They're reporting that the Villa midfielder Emiliano Buendia is on the verge of joining Bayer Leverkusen. They've reached a total agreement with Villa to take Buendia on loan, and it's understood to contain an option to buy. He's now set to take a medical and complete the formality. So it looks like Emiliano Buendia on his way from Villa to Bayer Leverkusen.
All right, we're going to take a break. There is loads going on. We've got players in and out at Celtic. We've also got news of Arsenal. They're in for a signing. Is it a striker? No. See you in a moment. Yes, you'll find us in there. Yes, we are Battersea Power Station having an absolute ball. Let's talk Celtic. Dharmesh, one in, one out. Tell us.
Let's talk about the one out first of all. Rennes have confirmed the signing of striker Kyogo from Celtic. It's been brilliant for them. He's joined for £10 million. I think Celtic see this as good business because I think Kyogo wanted to go. He had talks with the Japanese head coach who told him, you need to be playing for one of European football's top 5 leagues to be regular for the Japanese national team.
So he dissed Scottish Premiership football.
Your words, not mine. Add to that, the 30-year-old has entered the final 18 months of his contract. And furthermore, he needs a shoulder operation at some stage which is going to keep him out for a lengthy period of time. So Kyogo on his way out of Celtic. A man coming in is someone Celtic fans will be very familiar with. It's Jota. The left-sided attacking position has been a priority position for Celtic in this transfer window. I think we can see pictures of Jota at Celtic this afternoon with the scarf and the shirt. He is well and truly a Celtic player again. And I think Celtic, rather like the Kyogo deal, see this as good business. They actually sold Jota for £25 million to Al Ittihad about 18 months ago. Didn't work out for him there at all. He was then sold to Rennes, got frozen out because a new manager came in, and now Celtic have got him back, and it's cost them £8 million, and he signed a 5.5-year deal. So Kyogo out, Jota in.
Right, we were talking Arsenal before the break. I said it's not a striker, but it is a striker. Who is it?
No, it's an attacking midfielder, and it's definitely...
Tried Arsenal fan.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one for the future. A name I think we'll be hearing a lot of in the years to come. Young player, 18-year-old, plays for Rosenborg, attacking midfielder called Sverre Nupen. Now, a lot of clubs are trying to sign him. His agent is Rafaela Pimente, one of the biggest agents in the world, also looks after Erling Haaland. He was actually, I think, in Erling Haaland's box at the Etihad Stadium on Saturday.
He's Norwegian, right?
Yes. Yeah. Watching the game between City and Chelsea. City, I think, are interested in signing him as well. There is talk that perhaps if he was to join them, he would play for Girona because obviously the City Football Group have clubs all around the world. Reports in Norway that Aston Villa are also interested in him. But I think he's in London at the moment having talks with Arsenal. So this is one of those situations where I think it's up to the player and his representatives to decide where he wants to go because some big clubs are trying to sign him.
Any news of a striker for Arsenal, though?
I think Dharmesh knows about that more than I do. I don't want to be. I don't want to be controversial.
It's as you were. They're still trying. Yeah. They're still trying to do something. But as Mikel Arteta has said in every single news conference, and he said it to Jamie Weir on Friday, and he got a little bit narky, to be honest with you, did Mikel Arteta. But he said, look, I've never said I don't want or need a striker. We're working hard to try and bring someone in, but it's got to be the right player. If they don't get the right one in, they'll wait until the summer. You
said you didn't want to be controversial. Be controversial.
I was just going to say, I'm not sure Arsenal actually need a striker this month, but...
Why?
I just don't think the difference between them finishing second and winning the title is going to be a signing that they make in the next few days. I think Arsenal are a great team. I think they can cope with the injuries they've got. I think Saka will be coming back. And it's all well and good jumping on social media and recording videos and saying Arsenal must sign a striker. But who's this striker going to be? And how good is he going to be when he arrives? We've seen lots of signings that don't work out. There is no guarantee that if Arsenal were to sign a striker in the next few days, he would hit the ground running and be the difference between them finishing second or top.
Right, we're running out of time. I want to get a deep dive into that at 7. But before we go, let's talk Tottenham Hotspur. Ange under pressure. Is he going to bring anyone in to help him?
I think at the moment it's business as usual. That is what we're hearing. I think Spurs are trying to make one signing in the next few days. One player could be coming in. And we're also hearing that there is some sympathy internally at Spurs because of all the injuries that he has to deal with at the moment.
James McAtee leaving City, is that right? They need midfielders?
Look, Bayer Leverkusen are pushing to sign him. They want to loan him and then attach a £21 million option to buy him. However, this isn't straightforward because FIFA regulations state that you can loan 6 players out. We think that Kyle Walker might be the 6th player that City have loaned out. So unless they bring someone back, they won't have that free space just yet.
Okay. Where's my camera? There it is. We are back at 7 o'clock where we're going to talk much, much more. We've got Henry Winter and we've got Shay Given and we've got a live studio audience. We will see you at 7.